In the cluttered attic of his late grandfather's clock shop, 24-year-old Ethan Carter stumbled upon a peculiar brass pocket watch, its hands frozen at 12 o'clock. The shop, nestled in a quiet corner of modern-day Boston, had been abandoned for years, its shelves lined with dusty clocks that ticked out of sync. Ethan, a struggling watchmaker with a knack for fixing broken things, felt an inexplicable pull toward the watch. Its surface was etched with strange symbols, spirals, crescents, and numbers that didn't align with any known language. When he wound it, the air around him shimmered and the world dissolved. He awoke on a cobblestone street in 19th century London, the air thick with coal smoke and the clatter of horse-drawn carriages. Men in top hats and women in corsets bustled past, their faces lit by gas lamps. Ethan's modern jeans and hoodie drew curious stares, but he was too stunned to care. The watch, now warm in his hand, ticked backward. He realized he had traveled in time. Before he could process it, the watch vibrated, and he was yanked back to his attic, the transition so abrupt it left him gasping. Over the next few days, Ethan experimented cautiously. Each journey to the past, whether to Victorian London, revolutionary France, or ancient Rome, cost him exactly one day of his present life. He returned from a 10-minute trip to find 24 hours had passed in his time. Worse, his health began to deteriorate. Headaches, nosebleeds, and a creeping sense of fatigue. The watch, it seemed, was cursed, draining his life with every tick. Determined to understand its origins, Ethan researched his grandfather's journals, which hinted at a family secret. His ancestor, a clockmaker named Alistair Carter, had crafted the watch in 1845 London to save his dying wife, Eleanor. Alistair had sought the help of a mysterious alchemist who imbued the watch with temporal magic, but at a cost. It bound the user's life to the flow of time. Alistair vanished after using it, leaving behind only cryptic warnings. Ethan's obsession grew. On his next trip to 1845, he tracked down Alistair's workshop, a cramped room lit by flickering candles. There he met Eleanor, a frail woman with kind eyes who mistook him for a friend of her husband. She spoke of Alistair's desperation to save her, how he'd disappeared after a final trip, and how she felt a shadow watching her ever since. Ethan felt a pang of guilt. He couldn't tell her the truth about Alistair's fate. Before leaving, Eleanor gave him a locket with her portrait, a token of gratitude. Back in the present, Ethan noticed something chilling. A shadowy figure began appearing in the corners of his vision, its form indistinct but menacing. It whispered his name in a voice that echoed through time, growing louder with each journey. He realized the shadow was a manifestation of the curse, a temporal hunter tracking the watch's user across eras. The more he traveled, the closer it got. Desperate, Ethan returned to 1845 to find Alistair. He arrived during a foggy London night, the city cloaked in an eerie silence. At the workshop, he found Alistair's notes, revealing that the watch could be destroyed, but only by returning it to the moment of its creation, a paradox that risked unraveling time itself. As Ethan read, the shadow appeared, its form now clearer, a gaunt figure with hollow eyes wearing a tattered cloak made of clock hands. It lunged, and Ethan barely escaped, the watch pulling him back to the present just in time. Now Ethan faced a choice: destroy the watch and risk the consequences, or keep it and succumb to the curse. His health worsened, his hair grayed, his hands trembled, and he aged years and days. But he couldn't let go of Eleanor's memory. He felt a bond with her, a woman he'd never truly known, yet who reminded him of his own loneliness. In a final act of defiance, Ethan traveled back to the exact moment Alistair created the watch, a stormy night in 1845. The alchemist, a skeletal man with eyes like burning coals, stood over a glowing forge, chanting in an ancient tongue. Alistair, frantic, worked beside him, unaware of Ethan's presence. As the watch was completed, Ethan stepped forward, shouting for them to stop. The alchemist turned, his gaze piercing, and time froze. "You cannot undo what has been woven," the alchemist hissed. "The watch binds your bloodline. To destroy it is to destroy yourself." Ethan hesitated, the shadow now inches away, its cold breath on his neck. He thought of Eleanor, of Alistair's love, and of his own life slipping away. With a trembling hand, he smashed the watch against the forge, its gears shattering in a burst of light. Time exploded around him. Fragments of his life, childhood memories, his grandfather's laughter, Eleanor's smile, flashed before his eyes, then faded into darkness. When Ethan opened his eyes, he was back in his attic, the watch gone. But so were the years he'd lost. His hair was dark again, his hands steady. Yet something felt off. He looked in a mirror and saw faint scars on his face, marks of a life he no longer remembered. Downstairs, the shop's clocks ticked in unison for the first time in years. Ethan smiled, feeling a strange peace. He opened Eleanor's locket, but the portrait was now blank. As he closed it, a faint whisper echoed in the attic. "Thank you." He never saw the shadow again, but sometimes, late at night, he swore he heard the ticking of a clock that wasn't there.